missile. Riddle them, let them have it. Dismantle damage, they panic, wreak havoc, attack it, ball in, all win. No hesitation, the confrontation, we ready, you waiting, anticipating this ankle breaking.
Welcome back to Pisces TV with Dr. MB. This is your daily vibe for the collective of Pisces. Sun, Moon, Venus, rising sign, wherever Pisces may fall in your chart, if there is a Pisces in your environment. Keep in mind, tarot is entertainment. If it does not resonate with you, check other aspects of your chart. If you're interested in your own personal readings, my products and services, any of our platforms, or whatever, check the description box. There's a link to it all. My Etsy store, our Patreon membership section, and we are now on Meetup. So if you do have the Meetup app, go ahead and download it, search for Pisces TV, or better yet, check in the community board. I post all of the events and all of the platform information as well as daily motivation there. I definitely appreciate any of you that are stopping by for the first time. Hit the subscription button and stay. I do update quite frequently. If this video does not resonate with you, check other videos that I have. And all of my returners, you are gratefully appreciated. Without you, there wouldn't be a Pisces TV, so I love to have watchers. I'm not talking to myself, okay? If you do like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. You can wait until the end, but I can say do it now, just to show gratitude. If it doesn't resonate, at the least, I think I'm kind of funny and entertaining. So we'll go ahead and get started. I like to do an introduction, and I follow up with the Celtic Cross Style reading. The extended version to this video is available to my Shark members, so click that Patreon link and sign up today if you hadn't already. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started, okay? I shuffled out 3 cards. If you're not used to me, then, let me just tell you a little bit about it. I shuffle out cards, a little bit about the past, which could be a challenging aspect, because when I think about South Node, past life, things that we've, brought over here, and then that midsection, the current moment, I think about North Node, or what we need to accomplish, what we need to move toward, okay, or the current, whatever's going on now. And then the third card for me is like the solution, the outcome, the inspiration, or whatnot. And so we'll go ahead and get started with that. Feel free to interchange the timelines, as my readings are usually timeless, but I do set the intention on the immediate future, okay? So the first card we have out is soul retrieval. All right, now if you're interested in how I go about doing what it is that I do, I look at the cards as a whole, I look at the cards individually, and then I take from the pictures, I take from my intuitive guidance, and then I'll go into the guidebook and pick and choose. Now I will say that a bonus card came out, and I'm going to save that for you as we move through this storyline. But with soul retrieval, I immediately thought about the previous reading that I did for you, Pisces, where I talked about contracts, commitments, obligations, parts of yourself, okay? I even thought about the maze, or you trying to find your way, because the eagle came out after soul retrieval. So in the guidebook, this card says that there may have been aspects of yourself that you feel have been lost, not that you actually have lost. And there's this kind of soul searching type of energy, or a need to redeem yourself, okay? So that I don't miss anything, the number is 49, if it makes any resonance with you, if you're into numerology or whatnot. And soul retrieval basically says that you're not fragmented. You are one with the Creator. You may be looking for energy, your enthusiasm, or your innocence that you feel again that you've lost. We'll use soul retrieval to recover from our hurts and our heals, as well as childhood wounds. Later we learn to journey to recover our original nature, okay? So I like that. What I felt here is something that I've said before in the past, in friends or in conversation, when people say I'm trying to find myself, or a little bit of soul searching. I feel that there's more of confusion. You are who you are, and you are always exactly where you are supposed to be and who you are supposed to be. And the ego kind of helps us come out of the confusion, which is the present moment, asking you to see things from a higher perspective. The number is 16, and with the ego, it represents the rising of the sun, so it could talk about enlightenment, a new beginning, where we come out of what I felt was like past life situations, commitments, losses, or failures, and then we come into the present moment of seeing the bigger picture, getting back on track, not becoming trapped into our daily routine, more so searching for your sense of purpose. So with the first card being searching for yourself and your soul, and the second part being searching for your purpose, I just feel like some of you may be in an energy or coming out of an energy of feeling lost. Now, if this isn't you, it may be someone in your environment or something in your environment. But there's this looking for energy, there's this lost energy, there's a confusion, and then there's this confirmation that all that you need, you have in you, which is probably why you can't find it. Whether it's true love, whether it's the job that you want, whether it's something that you lost, your purpose, who you are, who you were, any of you that could be foster children or may have suffered abandonment issues, it's like you want these things to help identify you. And on the flip side, others of us could be using things too much to identify ourselves and what we do every day, okay? So I wake up every day, I get ready for work, I go to work, that's who I am, and then feeling not satisfied with that. So it's like maybe there's more to me. Maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to be doing? Because this isn't working, this isn't me. And these cards are saying to relax, to be still, to center yourself, and trust that you are who you are. Anything that you don't like about yourself or you wish to find, you can do so by having the confidence to know that I'm doing this for a reason. And I have the intellect to discern I'm no longer happy with this, so that I can take steps to move forward and do something differently. It's simple. But if we get into the chaos and the hysteria and the confusion and be frightened and, get into all that kind of stuff, things can become a little cloudy. So some of you in this deck, it says that you may have become trapped in certain things and you need to take a deep breath, spread your wings. When was the last time you opened them? Eagle reminds you that your spirit was born to soar to the heavens. So to look at things from a higher perspective, so to go above the clouds, and theoretically that is rising above the confusion, okay? Now with the last card, the Earth, which I thought was kind of cool, it comes immediately after the Eagle. So this is something, an action that needs to be taken right now, okay? We have the Earth energy, which says to ground yourself, put your feet on the ground. The Page of Cups energy, where we're living in daydreams and fantasies and ideas, unrealistic things, or not really putting the work behind what we really want to do, okay? So with the Earth card, it represents the gift of life. The symbol of this card refers to the body of the planet Earth, or the human body, the nature self, okay? We are reminded by this symbol that all creatures are born of Earth, and human beings are the stewards of all life on this planet. When the Earth symbol appears, it represents a need to focus on reverence and appreciation for the natural gifts that are coming to you now and always. So getting out of the past, not stressing out on the future or looking for something, and just really finding gratitude in the moment. And as I stated, I'm trying to help you understand that moment, which is you have the intelligence to say something isn't fulfilling me, all right? So then have the initiative to take the steps in what you want to do and removing what you don't want. It's simple. It really is simple if you're practical about it. And appreciate the fact that you're not just, blind and unconscious, living in a loop, not even knowing what unhappiness is, or feeling lost is, or feeling success is. You're just kind of at a blur, and with, like I said, no consciousness at all. Appreciate that you do have enough sense to say something may not be right, but I do have the ability to make the corrections, okay? So with the Earth card, it talks about success being assured, all right? It's also an invitation to you, all right? So the bonus card that came out was the Seer. And automatically with the Moon card following it, it was kind of like somebody on the hunt for me. So I decided to look in the guidebook because that didn't fit the overall message of like the hunter. It's the seer and how you see things, so your discernment could be of essence. The seer represents the capacity to reach beyond the obvious details of life. And I immediately saw the ego energy and the seer together, okay? The seer knows truth, always seeks truth beyond all else, and sees reality as it truly is without judgment. The The seer can read between the lines and understand what is not being said. He represents the power of clarity and being able to recognize patterns. So that is the appreciation, Pisces. It all makes sense. Like I said, appreciate that you've recognized something. Don't get hysterical and get out and start searching for it or trying to find material things or other things to, soup yourself up. It says that you're going through an awakening and you're releasing some things, and there's nothing outside of you to look for to replace those things that you're releasing. Be still, okay? So that's where I go. And some of you guys need to take action, especially on that, noticing the patterns. For those of you that have not done that, okay? Notice your patterns. And how do I do that? How do I notice patterns? Well, I would give a timeline. And if not just this week, well, let's do today. I'll keep it simple. I was going to say, think about what you did a year ago today. But keeping it simple, what do you do? What do you think about? What do you eat when you wake up? What do you do? What do you think about before you go to bed? And then take also, what don't you do when you get up every day? And what don't you do when you go to bed? And then look at that. For example, I did it. If every day you get up and you think about what you don't like, you think about the people that hurt you, you think about matters of the past, you may not feel too good. So when I noticed, or actually I asked Source, when I saw people walking around looking happy, I said, do they think about the things I think about all day long? And the fact that I got a no was enough for me to say, okay, so it is possible. It is me doing this. And that was a good thing, because there was nothing else in control that I needed to defeat. I simply needed to change what it is I thought about. So how do I do that? Well, first, just stop thinking about all that other shit I just said. And then second, you can replace those things, but you don't have to go find them. What do you want? I want to be happy. So think about things that I am already happy about. And then think about things that I want. And in doing so, I think about how do I get those things. And I start researching those things. And I don't get stressed out about that. I just trust in the process, Pisces, and we'll get started with your reading. So, I hope that all is well and that you are enjoying the beginning of this week. I used to say the weekend, but Sunday is like not the weekend for me. As we go ahead and get started with your reading now. This card wanted to come out, but I'm going to take plants. Okay. We ended off with earth, and now we start with plants. When I think about plants, ain't that cute? When I think about plants, they grow from the earth, right? So this connectedness to source, the source of all that we have currently in this life, in this middle world. I also think about pentacles, but in the Six of Pentacles aspect, so kind of like reciprocity and growth. And how do you do that? Well, plants, they need water. They need sunlight. So you can't elude or escape from the emotions. You can't escape from the enlightenment or the work that needs to be done, because you may need to pick the weeds. You may need to do a lot of things. And maybe this talks about the seeds that you've already sown, but we are going to look from the guidebook. The botanical world is a fascinating and integrating part of our existence on the planet. The smallest bacteria to the giant sequoia tree, the plant kingdom maintains a quiet and ancient intelligence on which humans rely. Utilize the healing properties of these powerful allies through tending a garden, keeping potted plants in your home, and using them for medicinal, never used that before, purposes. Now, all of you guys are not, don't have a green thumb, okay? So in using my discernment for the current situation, look at what it said. It talked about existence. It talked about the smallest thing to the biggest thing and how it was all necessary and connected. It also talked about healing properties and powerful allies. So this is not focusing on the problem but the solution, and not focusing on the enemies but what is working for you, even if it's just you, okay? Now, what's crossing this? I was just going to say again, but it's okay. We're going to get it. What's crossing this energy is air, okay? So when I hold up the air card, I automatically think air is communication, So it's kind of like the issue could be if the seeds go into the ground and the water and the sun and all of that, and even the essence of the ground, the earth helps the seeds grow into a sprouted plant. And then there's somebody that has to take care of the plant. The air for me talks about communication, discernment, judgment. So something not connected. It could be the water and the seed ain't connecting together. The farmer or the person with the green thumb that's tending to the plants, they don't know what the plant wants. It's like I didn't read the instructions. I don't know how much water it's supposed to have. I don't know how much sunlight to give it, and I'm confused. Like the other plants that I had, just a state of confusion. So just know that these two cards come out. It's telling me that there may be something in the air, and it affects everything around us. So that you need to be sure that clarity is one of your main focuses. If you have an idea, don't get boggled down by the details, okay? There's a need to probably get organized, or it may talk about organizations, like I said. And then the air energy also represents Mercury, so see where that falls in your chart. The lesson is healing. And why did I smile? I love this. Look at that. They together. One person has tattoos all over their body, and the other person has nothing. So when I said the person taking care of the plant is like, I don't know how to do this. How much water does it take? How much sunlight does it need? Because this person could be like, I don't have tattoos. I don't know how much ointment I'm supposed to rub on this for you. And it's just a simple thing of miscommunications. But also, it talks about healing. Maybe we're thinking too much. Maybe we're doing too much. And maybe that causes a stir up in the energies. So there's a definite need to be grounded. If I don't take anything else from these cards, it is definitely to be grounded. Where I used to say, well, clarity and communication is your focus. At this point, it isn't, because there may be other things deceiving you in the environment. Okay, others of you may be wanting to do something with healing and with plants and with herbs, and maybe you need to test them out. Maybe you're scared to engage with other people, and there's a need for you to move beyond that, because these two people are engaging and kind of like healing each other, which coincides with how I started when I said that the plants don't necessarily grow themselves. Okay, even if there aren't human beings around, I still feel the rain and the sunlight and the animals and the birds and the bees and all of that kind of stuff. It still takes a community. All right. So healing says that there are many modes of healing, but the intention itself is key. With loving kindness, examine your wounds, bringing restorative attention and self-love to those parts that have been unattended for too long. Now this isn't the same person. And this is also giving me lover vibes, because she's, naked like Eve, and I think about the Garden of Eden, and it's like where it all began. And some of you guys, most of us, whatever, when we constantly, I just wanted to, even though healing is important and grounding yourself is important, I just wanted to share with you, I feel that if we continuously say that we have things to heal from, are we actually releasing them? So if I say I'm healing from childhood wounds, I'm healing from childhood wounds, I'm healing from a past relationship, I'm healing, and if a year passes, like I said, the next day comes, the next month comes, and you're still healing, you ain't let it go yet. That ain't how healing works. This isn't pharmaceuticals we're talking about. We're talking about the true nature of a human being, which does have the ability to heal and regenerate itself. Before Adam and Eve and sex came about, I heard about the nymphs who used to impregnate themselves. So the true nature, again, that doesn't involve so much others and so much process and so much. When do you heal? Like, when have you thought about that? Have you decided if you are prescribing yourself and you are your own doctor? And I don't want to be condescending. I'm serious. How long you gonna heal from that? Okay. So what's crossing this healing is structure. Kind of like what I said. Getting organized. Picking yourself up. A collective. The community. If everybody's healing from something, then we may be damaging to each other. If I'm healing from hurt, and so I can't help you, or I may be toxic for you, and if you're healing from hurt and you're toxic for me, and let's just say the sun was healing so it don't want to shine the same, and the rain was healing so it don't want to fall the same, and then the plant was healing so it don't want to grow the same, so the bee don't, and okay, so we doing all of this healing, but how much of it is actually helping the collective, and how much are we actually helping ourselves to be so caught into the healing? So we'll read from the guidebook, though. I do like structure, and I do feel the Queen of Pentacles energy where it talks about getting more organized. And if I had to say, well, what is it that we're organizing? What is in your environment? How you're going about doing whatever it is that you want to do, and more importantly, your thoughts, because air is the only thing outside of structure that is indifferent to this earth energy. So being very practical, all right, and getting your thoughts together. Strong organization and arrangement are key elements to success of complex organisms as well as human-made systems. Examine the structure you have in place to keep the complexities of life running smoothly. Create solid foundations and appreciate boundaries where they are needed. So then we are moving into the Queen of Swords energy. As we come out of the subconscious, conscious mind, and healing limited beliefs and past life commitments, and setting healthy boundaries, and being more receptive, and being more open, and being more grounded, collecting ourselves, and being sure now what we need in our environment and what we may not, as well as what those things need to survive. So if this is talking about family matters and your ability to do your work and be a mom and dad, or to find time for yourself in all of this, right? Because the cards clearly said that some of us were still soul searching, and it's like you still have to be afloat, you still have to live, you're still here. So the present moment is still requiring your attention, even though you're trying to figure out how you got here, and you may be trying to figure out where you're going. I feel like the present moment has all of the answers, but sometimes we won't find that because we're not looking in the present. And so past, present, and future could be the organisms and the collective that aren't really nurturing each other. I don't know. However it works for you. Crown of your thoughts. Let's see. I'm patient. I'm patient. I love y'all. Crown of your thoughts, we have obstacle. Okay. So intuitively, let me feel this. The top of your priorities right now, what's on your mind, what's controlling how you see things, or your inability to see things, is the obstacle. Now, I'm going to read from the book, and I am not too proud to say that sometimes the book deviates way from what the fuck I said, so that's why I share both with you. But if we start with plants, that is the current situation, plants. And when I think about plants, I think about growth, I think about the seeds, I think about taking care of them. And then what's crossing it is the air or the wind, okay? The nothingness that allow all of us to exist in it, because water can take the form of the container and can be seen, and fire can be seen, and the earth is something practical that I can touch, but the air is almost like invisible. So it could be the unseen parts of this process, okay? You focused on healing, or healing everybody else, I don't know. But then structure, you need to focus on you, as well as whatever it is that you're trying to baby, okay? But obstacle, to me that sounds like focusing on the process and not seeing it as a process, but seeing it as how far you are away from it, all right? Because an obstacle for me could be an obstacle course, a set of things that I have to get through a finish line. It doesn't have to be all tedious and hindrance, right? But if I were standing at the top of it and not just making a decision to get started and kind of like looking at all of that I have in front of me, that could create a little bit of anxiety. Now on the flip side of that, if I were at the start and I knew I had to get through this course, I would be adamant on concentrating on what was needed. So like the hurdles are here, and then I see a straight shot here, so let me try to balance out and prepare my energies. Are there people cheering me on? If not, okay, whatever. But let's read it and see. I dislike, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I dislike that the obstacle is crowning you. Maybe that's just where you are now, and you'll get through that. All right. We may experience what we perceive to be a problem or hindrance to accomplishing a goal, but in fact, the issue is not as solid as it first appears. Examining our options from all angles may allow us to find a place of entry that we previously overlooked. Paying attention to details is one of the cornerstones of the Queen of Pentacles energy, as she is very grounded. So she really doesn't, or he doesn't have that anxiety, nervous condition. I'm going to temper myself. I'm going to release that fear. Really don't have that depression because I'm not overly emotional or emotionally imbalanced to even hold on to shit that ain't happening right now. So I don't have that. So where does that leave me? It leaves me in the now, the details of right now, the what can I do right now, and getting started. And I did say that, but I like the overlooked aspect. It happened back in March. I really don't know what was going on, and I always tell you guys I'm gonna try to do better with the moon cycles and the horoscope, because they're so in tune to those of us that are strongly connected to the cosmos. Not everybody has this type of connection, and your life is not so constructed that way. But we don't even, I didn't even know it until after the fact. I like to share personal experiences, I don't mind. Something about March, I don't know if it was our birthdays. It's also when they finally decided to be kind of honest about this pandemic. It's when all of the quarantine started. So maybe that chaos and that confusion caused this pause. But I received a couple of emails about readings. I received a couple of emails about the store. And because I'm, observant, I noticed that most of these purchases or most of these situations came from March. And they weren't really on me. So I appreciate that I grew and I wasn't as reactive as I used to be back in the day. I did my research first. So there is that overlooking aspect. And I found, like I said, that most of these, and I won't even say complaints, but most of these situations came from March. And it was like I bought something and, So I was like, before I responded, I just went and took a look at it. So I looked at the lady purchases. And she left feedback on the Etsy store that this was magnificent. Oh, it lasts so long. It's so smooth. It's still there. But this same person hit me up and was like, I'm a Nubian goddess and I don't know what you put in this shit, but it's, And I was like, maybe she going through something. And then somebody else hit me back. I want to do a reading. I want my reading. And I was like, okay, cool. Send me a screenshot. Let me find your purchase. And she sent me a response from months ago, and we're now in what, August? So March, April, May, June, July, almost 6 months. And I was like, baby girl, I tried to contact you so many times, blah blah blah, and then you didn't even reach out to me like, oh, I was in jail, I was sick, I was going through something. My apologies on the delay. You hit me up and say, look, I paid for something 6 months ago, and now I want it. So, when I say we miss things, I'm talking about myself. Because I was like, maybe I missed something back in March. And I don't know, but I didn't. But I'm still open like that. But anyway, it just be phases. When I talk about those of us connected so deeply or open so deeply or consuming the energy. When I talked about that, the confusion around that time could have affected empaths or people that are very sensitive to their environment, to where it's like you can't be in the moment. You can't say something is absolutely wonderful. Oh my God, I want to put this on Yelp and give you 100, and then 3-6 months later say this shit is awful, it's trash, I can't stand it, and it should even be gone by now, because this little bitty thing of lotion shouldn't last 6 months. But I'm just like, what the fuck? And so I don't know. So the problem, the obstacle crowning your thoughts, and even look at this, even though it's a rock, it could look like a little brain. So it's like this is the I don't like to say problem. This is the issue. When I say what's crossing you for good or bad, and look, this symbol even looks like a little crossroad right there. What's the issue? What's the issue? Your brain. So when I said the Queen of Pentacles has the ability to temper herself, I had no idea that I was really thinking about temperance and how we're talking about pharmaceutical medicine versus natural medicine. So if there are any imbalances that do also cause this confusion, or your receptivity tells you a lot about you overall. So some of y'all, it's not that you're bipolar or crazy or depressed or anxious. I feel like it's just some kind of energy that you attract, or some kind of openness that you have to pick up certain signals. And because of that, not really being conscious of it, it kind of like takes over you. And then the you feels lost in all of that frequency around you, okay? And if this doesn't resonate with you, because it's a lot, it may not resonate now. Just like when people didn't understand what was going on, and 3 to 6 months passed, and I'm just glad that I know how I am, and I pace myself before I respond now. I didn't used to. And I looked into it before, like I said, before being reactive, to look into it. There could be something that's overlooked. So if none of those individual scenarios resonate with you, this is definitely a time to be slow motion, to be grounded, to not do so much as far as action, because you may miss something in the process of your doing. Pay attention to the details, all right? And Pisces, if this is where we leave off, I definitely love and appreciate the time that we've spent. And until next time, namaste.